Douglas C-47 Gunny-Bird, acquired in 1945. The C-47s were one of the first aircraft to be used in restoring flight operations of the post-war Philippine Army Air Corps. Grumman HU-16 Albatros. The first four Albatros aircraft were acquired in 1957 and were used in air rescue airborne operations and as a non-conventional aircraft refueler in the 1970s insurgency campaigns in Mindanao. Aero Commander TC-690 Alpha. Latest addition into the museum's historical holdings is a TC-690 aircraft which was used by the government for special missions. North American F-86 Foxtrot Sabre. Known as the MiG killers in the Korean War, the Sabres were acquired in 1957 as the primary fighter aircraft of the Philippine Air Force. Lockheed T-33 Alpha T-Bird. In 1955, the Philippine Air Force was ushered into the jet age when it acquired its first T-33 Alphas. The aircraft was used in jet transition training and later in jet qualification course. Vought F-8H Crusader. Acquired in 1978, the Crusaders were first used for air defense in the Kalayaan Island group due to the increasing tension on the West Philippine Sea. North American F-86 Delta Sabre Dog. The acquisition of the F-86 dogs in the 1960s boosted the fighter capability of the Philippine Air Force, as these were known to have all-weather and night intercept capabilities because of its onboard radar. The Philippine Air Force acquired 20 aircraft before it was decommissioned in 1968. Bell UH-1H UA. In 1969, the Philippine Air Force received its first batch of UAs that improved command search and rescue and tactical heli-lift capabilities. The one on display bears the olive drab color palette, which is used by tactical units of the Philippine Air Force. The UH-1H are still in operation due to its efficient and tactical design. YS-11A. The YS-11A was acquired in 1971 for special mission purposes. The one on display similarly bears the colors used in presidential aircraft. The YS-11A was decommissioned in 1993. Cessna T-41D. In 1968, the Philippine Air Force acquired the first batch of T-41s which later totaled to 28 units. The Philippine Air Force recently received a batch of T-41Bs in the form of donation from South Korea that boosted training capabilities of the Philippine Air Force. Due to the T-41's perfect design, the said variant has been in the service for quite some time and are still used in the training of the new Philippine Air Force pilots today. North American T-6 Texan. An addition into the training capabilities of the Philippine Air Force was the acquisition of the Texans in 1948. Texans were assigned to Basa Air Base and Fernando Air Base. The Texans reached a total of 24 aircraft before it was withdrawn from use in 1968. North American T-28 Trojan. The T-28s were first acquired in 1959 to boost the training capability of the Philippine Air Force. The social, political, and economic crisis brought the activation of a Philippine Air Force unit in 1970s. The said aircraft were last seen in 1987 and 1989 coup before it bowed out from the service in 1992. Beechcraft T-34 Mentor. Acquired in 1958 as Japan's war reparation program to the Philippines. The T-34s were extensively used in flight training before the said platform were replaced by the finer T-41Ds in 1969. The aircraft reached a total of 34 before it was completely withdrawn from use in 1982.
In closing, we could further assert that the history of the Philippine Air Force depicts its honor past of courage and sacrifices in its early years, of the gallantry and patriotism of its men in World War II, and of its active participation in nation building and development in time of peace and political instability. It is the story of growth from the lonely biplane to supersonic jets, of growing sophistication in the knowledge possessed by its men and increased capabilities as the nation's first line of defense. Thank you for visiting the Philippine Air Force Aerospace Museum and Aircraft Park